Welcome back to It Takes Two. So yeah, let's see if we can get to the top of the closet.
You are terrible parents.
More like it takes twats.
Yeah, basically.
This is terrible. This is a terrible plan.
It is. But there's only one of them is British, so it takes a twat and what would be the American equivalent of that term?
A twat.
Well, no. We have to. Okay, Joe, but like, what's like a good term for a dumbass that we can use for an American?
Dumbass.
Well, I was trying to go for something.
I think Pedro means something that starts with a T. To be
no, not necessarily a T tail. Something a bit shorter. Something that rolls off the tongue better.
Like,
Moron,
do you have a go-to insult?
Sure, a twat and an idiot. Let's go a twat and an idiot. Why not? But well, unfortunately, we do have some awesome, really good play school gimmicks. Because actually, this is actually one of my favorite stages. Because the theme of this level is, how do you put it, like preschool type toys and stuff like that. So basically, it works in a lot of way like you're playing a Toy Story game, kind of.
You know, to address our criticism, one thing I think would have helped is if there were some choices implemented that, per se, allow you to skip ahead to a certain part of the story, or by taking the obvious wrong choice that prolongs the venture. Sure, some people might complain that, oh, well, if you want more of the playtime, you have to act like an idiot. That is, again, sort of the thing, though. Like, well, literally, the only reason that the game is continuing this long is because they're acting like idiots. Like I said, I feel like what would have been a cool thing is if there was this choice element, where, say, if you select the right choices, then you go ahead to a certain level here and there, or the story changes from a certain bout here and there. That way you can still have all this stuff.
Jova, just like, in A Way Out, that one actually had choices where the characters had to, reach.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point, actually.
And that was the previous game, Faris.
Well, here's the thing. That's the thing.
Not returning from these.
That's the thing. It's like I said in the previous part. I genuinely believe that what happened was a case of the flawed planning. They thought of all these cool gameplay level ideas that they really loved, and to their credit, they're awesome. So I don't blame them for loving them. But they thought of those first. And the plot came second, and don't get me wrong, I understand the process because that's how Nintendo develops their games for the most part as well. So it's not like it's a flawed, so it's not like it's an unattainable process to go about. But the problem is that they didn't really it got to a point where we have all these levels and we don't want to cut any of them, so we have to basically stretch the fucking first half more than it needs to be. And as a result, it can cause really bad pacing issues. That's my basic theory for what happened with this one. Like, if they're like, we're probably not gonna never get a map moment of what happened of this game, probably because this game probably doesn't have that much of that probably wouldn't have much of an interesting development history to really warrant a video like that. But if I was going to make a what happened video of this game, that would be my theory of what happened.
Okay. I will say this. I do get what Pedro means. Like, well, whereas A Way Out felt more story-oriented but still had good gameplay, this one feels more gameplay-driven.
Yeah.
And that's not to say the story is bad, but I'm definitely going to say the story is not as good as A Way Out.
No, it's not. It is not. Go ahead, Shiri. Go ahead.
I'm going to say that the pacing hasn't really been the biggest issue for me. Like, this has been going on a bit too... Like, it has been going on for a long time, but it's been fun. The problem is that in the span of a part, they've gone from being just, generally oblivious because they're so focused on their issues with each other that they haven't really thought about how it affects their daughter. Now their plan is to do something that's actually,
monstrous.
Textbook abuse.
Like, what the fuck?
Not only that,
yeah, go ahead.
Not only that, but you also reminded me, Shuri, in the sense that, again, what's weird about some of the pacing of this game is in the sense that, well, when you think about it also, they kind of flip-flop between agreeing with one another and then suddenly going suddenly making it feel like they haven't learned anything. Like, again, at first it seemed like they were learning stuff, but then they revert to, oh no, we haven't learned anything. It's just the way it is.
Hard.
My biggest issue with the story is the main characters. The parents are some of the most argumentative, annoying pieces of shit I've seen, in the past few years in terms of video game protagonists. And Dr. Hakim is an annoying prick who offers no help and just says the same shit over and over.
The big issue, again, the big problem is, of course, like I said, Jova, what happens is, again, this goes back to my theory. I generally believe that they have no choice but to have them once again disagree on things, because, again, they have to keep this part of the plot going for the sake of justifying the levels. Again, I generally believe there was a poor planning part where they got all the levels ready and they didn't want to cut any of them. So if they have to sacrifice plot pacing for it, they will. So I get the feeling that that was probably what happened. Hopefully for the next game, they'll. That's the thing they needed. They nailed the gameplay with this game. They completely nailed it. Now what they need to do is for the third game, they need to properly plan better from the very beginning and make sure they have a plot that justifies every single bit of gameplay. Properly plan things from the beginning, because I didn't get the feeling that the plot was planned second with this game. That's what I genuinely believe.
I would argue that there are ways to extend the gameplay without making them come off as psychopaths.
There are. It's just that clearly Joseph didn't realize it seems.
And, okay, this is one case where, yes, gameplay should be the most important part of a game. But when it's a highly story-driven game here, well,
yeah, I mean,
make sure you have a good story along with that. Otherwise, that could turn some people off from the game.
If it's a game like Super Mario Brothers or something, then fair enough. Story of that comes second to a game. But when we get a game made by what feels like a frustrated film director, you really have to be careful. You really have to be. You have to be able to really be able to do both. If you prioritize one over the other, like that could, and the thing you don't really prioritize isn't very good. That could end up potentially alienating.
Well, the thing that they're prioritizing is excellent. The gameplay, I mean. So there's that.
Also, we know they can do both. They just need to do both at the same time.
Wait.
They have done both. Why
are we doing math?
Yeah.
What is this?
I'm sorry.
Shut up, Shiro. You gotta learn something.
House have a classroom in. You monsters! You're keeping your girl in school in the vicinity of your home.
Well, remember, some people do get homeschooled.
Yeah, that's a thing, Jova. They have stated.
Don't turn your house into a literal school.
Oh, whatever. Seriously, I'm not exactly crazy about school either, but you guys just make it seem like the worst place in the world.
Look.
For some of us, it was the worst place in the world.
Look. As a kid, fun and school do not often go hand in hand for obvious reasons.
I guess it depends. Like, for me, it was always an opportunity to meet up with my friends and, do stuff and stuff like that. So, I guess...
Okay. That said, though, how weird, though,
It's just an excuse for more mini games, basically. There you go, memory game.
How funny would it be if it turned out they were...
If you get that bomb thing counts down how many wrong answers you can get before the table blows up.
Kinda, yeah.
We might be about to find out.
Okay.
Actually not.
Apparently not.
Damn it.
There you go. But
connect the dots.
It really is one of the. But yeah, like I was saying, it really is one of those cases where we, like Shiro said, yeah, we know that they can do both, so it's not like that's again, like I said, I really believe that it's one of those cases where they were really my guess is Joseph really wanted to, because A Way Out did get some criticisms for its gameplay being too simplistic, so I really think that Joseph took that criticism to heart and wanted to make sure they would nail the gameplay in this one.
Unfortunately, it's like a Mario Party mini game.
Oh my god, it kind of is.
And I do appreciate that, because even when the plot is not working, the gameplay, at least for me and my wife, definitely completely carry this game because because the game is so much fun. Like so even when we're not enjoying the story, the gameplay is so fun that it single-handedly carry. Go on.
Oof.
And to give this game credit, unlike a certain other example that will go unnamed, at least the story is not even... Okay, it's not like the story is bad enough to a point where even supremely awesome gameplay couldn't save it. Like, I'll just say this. It takes a remarkably bad story, Lightning Returns, to ruin a game that has otherwise good gameplay.
Well,
with Lightning Returns, it's technically the battle system.
Yeah.
Still, though, it's the best battle system of the 13 trilogy.
Yeah.
And yet somehow the story was bad enough to make that the worst of the trilogy.
Well, that's the
about that.
The sad part about that, Job, is that yes, Lightning Returns has a great battle system, but that's just it. Everything else in the gameplay around that battle system is terrible. So yeah, it really depends. Don't get me wrong. Again, the Game Trailers review that was made back in the day put it best. The battle system is great, but it's a great thing that belongs in a better game. Yep, I couldn't have said it. I couldn't have said it better myself. Pretty much.
Okay. In that case, I guess I'll go with the. Okay, it's kind of jive that pushes you off there, but all right. I guess I'll go with the obvious answer then. Last of Us 2. Like, yeah, some people have gone on and on about how the gameplay is great, but man, is it hard to notice the gameplay when all you're seeing is nothing but red hot rage from how ungodly terrible that story is.
The gameplay of Last of Us Part... Go ahead.
I kind of find it even hard to appreciate the gameplay, considering that, you know, from all the allegations, one of the people in charge of it is a complete twat.
Oh no, definitely, Dibs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely. It's just that.
What I'm talking about strictly is like, well, the experience while playing it. Like, well, let's assume we're not considering all the stuff that went on with that game's conception. Oh God, what happened of that game?
Also, small fun fact: I actually used to have a couple of these boards when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're fun to play with, but yeah, seriously,
I wasn't pretty good at them, but
It's
a matter of balance, Waves.
Yeah, the Miracle Mask actually had a couple puzzles that were like this as well. So this is a classic puzzle. Again, but basically the ball puzzle that you see in Sonic 06's Dusty Desert with Silver is basically a 3D version of this. When you get right down to it, it's all about trying to push the ball without falling on hold. This is a very classic board puzzle.
You're not tilting the corridor.
Yeah. In this, unlike Silver's Dusty Desert, this is actually a more faithful recreation rather than what Sonic 06 did with it.
Anyway, though, back to my point, though, like with Last of Us 2, most people who've played that game pretty much admit that even if the gameplay is great, and let's be honest, it's questionable if that gameplay is really great, but we've already gone enough into that. But okay, assuming you think the gameplay is great, even people who did like the gameplay are too distracted by how bad the story was. Like,
that's the thing, though. Your reward for playing the game is more story, and when the story's shit, you're not exactly getting a reward.
Not really a reward.
Not to mention, and I will also mention this, backing up what Jova was just said, and as a response to Dwebs as well. I don't know, Dibs. I will say that while there is indeed a story that has cutscenes and all that, I would say this game is nowhere near as plot-driven as something like a Naughty Dog game or something like yes, there are cutscenes and everything, but they are nowhere near as frequent. There's way more gameplay time than cutscene time in this game.
That said, to Jupiter's credit, I would say it's definitely a case where they do want us to pay mind to the story.
Oh, they do, definitely.
And you know what? To be fair, I wouldn't say the story is at a point where, it can't salvage itself. It's just that, well, it's like you yourself said, the first half is a bit rocky.
Yeah, I can tell you guys that the second half fortunately gets a lot better. But yeah, it is a matter of whether or not you can stomach the first half. For me and Vanessa, it was incredibly easy because the game is so much fun.
Vanessa,
speaking
of, a bit of time there to move.
Well,
remember, we're doing this blind, so obviously we're going to making some mistakes. Go on.
But yeah, I think the big takeaway we should take from this is like, well, while yes, gameplay should normally be the most important thing about a game, we shouldn't decry people who do point out problems with story as well. Because okay, look. Back in the older days, of course, gameplay was always going to be the most important thing. nowadays, not only can story sometimes be more important than gameplay, but I'd argue that story, especially on, a long-running franchise, can play a big part into a game here and there, to the point where, yes, it's nice if you get your gameplay nice, but that's no excuse to skimp out on the story here and there. The story will be important. There are people who are interested in your games for the lore, and if you screw it up big time, chances are you could end up alienating those fans.
Also, Jova, to add on to that, there's also the extra caveat here that it's a story that deals with a rather sensitive topic, because I mentioned this, I think, in the first part, but I actually have seen a bit all over the place, a couple of people, normal people, but, regular, players and reviewers alike, who felt that because of his dickishness, the game was treating the subject material without actual taste. So there is that.
I don't see it quite that way so far.
I haven't seen the entire game yet.
Sure.
It's probably not the case, but I can see how that may come off as it. And again, maybe the latter half will help stuff. But yeah, I do get the feeling like even the game doesn't realize some of the very bad implications at hand here.
I feel like... oh, sorry.
Okay. To wrap up what I'm saying, like Pedro said, maybe it was just a case to extend the game. But all the same, like I said, I could think of better reasons to do it.
Oh, definitely.
Come off like this. You were saying, Shirai?
Go on.
It's like everything, I wouldn't say they treated the subject disrespectfully, but everything has been fine up until this latest idea of theirs. And I really hope this goes somewhere, and I don't mean for the rest of the game. I do not want this to go through.
Let me put it like this. If this were like, near the start of the game where they're like, holy hell, we're dolls, do whatever we can to get the hell out of this, I'd get them being desperate to make her cry. That said, the fact that they literally had it... That said, the fact that we literally just went through an entire level, practically spelling out for them why making her cry was a bad idea, and their first idea is to make her cry maliciously, that seems like something you would make more in a comedy. And even still, even if that were a comedy, it would need to be a comedy that knows what it's doing, because no matter which way you cut it, that just makes them come off as the bad guys, and it makes you feel like the good ending should be her emancipating herself from them, because Jesus
it's a good idea. Why do they think it's a good idea?
Because they want to get back to normal.
It's one of those things where, but I generally believe this was my diagnosis for this case is genuine incompetence. I don't blame this on malice, personally.
I do wonder.
For me, it's even more simple. They simply did not thought this through.
Yeah, that's basically it. Yeah.
Part of me does think, though, that a cutscene like this could have fit earlier. Okay, maybe that's probably not what happened, but how funny would it be if it turned out Jesus?
Excuse me.
Okay, well, screw you for taking a swim.
How dare you go in the paddling pool?
But I do.
Jaws reference, maybe? Who knows?
I do think an interesting idea would have been if that scene was supposed to go way earlier into the narrative, and to be fair, it has kind of been their plan to get her to cry because it turns out the spell needs her tears.
How do they know that for sure?
That's
they
the
were
thing.
Told by...
No, they were not told. Remember, this is all Cody assuming. So
No. I'm pretty sure they were told by somebody that they need Rose's tears to turn back to normal.
No, Joe, it wasn't. It was entirely Cody's idea.
I thought
I'm pretty sure the
Cody then.
I'm pretty sure the book mentioned that they needed her tears.
No. The only Dwebs have been saying, Joe, but the only thing that Akeem has been saying is for them to collaborate. They didn't say anything else.
Yeah, that's my biggest problem. That's all he's been saying.
Okay, I'm pretty sure that there was some sort of spell book or something that mentioned that they needed Rose's tears.
Sorry, Jova.
Because otherwise, it wouldn't make any sense for them to.
Sorry, Jova, but no. It really was just
code.
code.
You get to draw something?
Yes.
I'll have to check back or something.
So what are you creating then?
Okay, well, you'll have to wait and see. Come on, it's not ready yet.
So far, it's a shoe crossing through a flight of stairs.
Honestly, it looked more like one of the Imperial spaceship from episode 6.
Basically, it's again yet another bit of interactivity to give you. Like basically, kind of like the Connect 4 minigame. In a way out, it's there for you to play around with, to give give the world a bit more interactivity and all that stuff. Because remember, one of the big things that Joseph said during the development is that they didn't want to have any collectibles in this platformer because they wanted to instead focus on just spreading all these cool little touches throughout the world instead.
Yeah, don't do that.
I'm convinced that particular frog thing is a reference to a certain crocodile toy thing. That
I remember that. It's like one of those tabletop like games.
Well, Hungry Hippos.
No, not the dentist. Crocodile and the Dentist. That was the name.
Yeah. Huh. I didn't have it, but I remember seeing a lot of publicity of it.
Okay, so
I remember that.
Batting team. Hit your May will hit ball to square point. Well, actually, yeah, it's a ball to square point.
I know this one. You have to wait 5 exact seconds. Oh.
All right. And there you go.
No, guys, come on! Your priorities are out of whack at the minute. You should be making your daughter scarred for life.
First playtime.
Yes.
There you go.
Okay.
Unless if there's a plot twist in this game and it turns out the parents were imagining all of this, they're psychopaths and they've been committed to an insane asylum by the end, then I could buy it.
Basically, the one that manages to spin the ball in circles more times wins. That's the basic gist of it.
Honestly, sorry, Andrew. Sorry.
So, looking back at a previous scene, now I get why they thought making her cry would get them back. It's because that her tears falling on the dolls are what turned them into dolls in the first place, so they assumed that it would be
you lost the Wi-Fi connection.
Well, it's a good thing this is not... what would be a shitty... What would be a like...
Spinners!
Yes!
No, that's the thing. This is actually one of the best gimmicks of the game, actually.
Really?
Yes, you're about to see.
Oh god, we're gonna fly, aren't we?
Yes.
Oh my god. But they don't use the Sonic fidget spinner, 0 out of 10.
Alright, so...
I believe I can fly.
Is that
there you go.
Song to use right now?
The music tells you that it's whimsy. Oof.
Also, why does falling into a ball pit kill you? That should not do that. That should be fun.
I guess the density is too unbearable for dolls of that size.
Okay, Siri, to be fair, these guys are tiny, and those balls are large. You'll probably be squished like a bug.
Here's the reason. You know what kids do in the ball pit, right? That probably makes it acidic for dolls.
Also, Dweebs, when it comes to Twister, probably a more one that would have made a lot of more sense would have been that this was a story that Leo was telling to his son to make him fall asleep.
You think that's bad? You should hear about what happened with the ball pit at Dash Gone.
I don't want to know about
7 years, Jova. Let's just let it go, please.
The scars are still there for the people who attended.
To me, yeah, like
people should stop chipping away at them.
Wait. You actually know about the DashCon thing?
Vaguely.
Let me put it this way. The reason I consider this to be the best co-op game ever made is more so because of the experience you have playing with the other person, because
this stage is cool.
Even better than A Way Out, this game does such a fantastic job in forcing the two players to communicate, collaborate, synchronize, plan ahead, and like I said, it's a unique experience that you won't get from any other game aside from Hazelight's games at this point. So no other co-op. And I've never played the game with a co-op mode or that has managed to take this concept to such brilliant extremes. Regardless of the story problems, the entire experience playing through is so unique and so wonderful that it alone is worth the price of admission, if you ask me.
I would agree, but considering the subject matter, I think it will just touch a...
definitely. I'm not trying to minimize the problems of the story. I'm just trying to say that when you're actually playing through it, it becomes a lot easier to tolerate because you're so distracted by the amazing gameplay. That it becomes easier to tolerate. Like, you're still gonna be annoyed by it, but when you're actually playing it and experience this for yourself, because trust me, watching it doesn't make it justice, I assure you. When you're actually playing this game is so much fun.
I love the watermelon bouncy castle.
Yeah. There you go.
I also get what Pedro might I also might get what Pedro is saying, because after we did our run, for one occasion I actually got to play a way out with someone on my own, and this kind of game, oh my god, these kind of games have a different feeling when you actually play with them.
Honestly, wouldn't it be funny if Akeem is just ironically making things worse, seeing as how technically, when you get down to it, it's because of him that the parents have gone to the grown desperate enough to they want to make their...
Oh no, a kaleidoscope.
Yes, and now we're inside a kaleidoscope. You see what I mean? You see what I mean, Jova? Somebody in the development team thought of a kaleidoscope level.
Sorry. Yeah. Okay. I got the next pick from the hat. It says kaleidoscope visual.
You see what
I have to work on that one.
See, Jova, it's sections like these that make me go with that theory that I have. I genuinely believe somebody in the development team had this cool idea for a kaleidoscope level. It's going to look really creative and unique visually. And Joseph was all like, yeah, that looks really cool, let's put it in. But
when's the roller coaster level?
So,
orientating
and that's why they had Dr. Akeem just pick a kaleidoscope and suck them out in there, because, again, like I said, you can really tell that they were so enthusiastic about all their cool level ideas that they were aching to put all of them in. That's why, and remember, the justification for this level existing, as you can see, came out of nowhere. So, and that's why I genuinely believe that, we want to put in all these cool levels we came up with. They're so much fun, and they are. To their credit, they are. But yeah, there is definitely a case where the story is definitely taking a knee every time a level wants to be put in. Basically, go on.
I think developers just need to remember that we're not in the ages of John Carmack, where story in a video game was seen as, well, the equivalent to story in a porn. Oh, well, that's pretty much how John Carmack described story in video games as back in the day.
I genuinely believe that it wasn't so much
story in a porno.
I think it's just one of those cases where they got so enthusiastic about it that they lost plot focus. I genuinely believe.
I really don't have a problem.
We have a story to write.
I honestly don't really have a problem with the idea of changing the setting so quickly, and I don't think it impacts the story. The only real problem is just the actual characterization of, the main two characters, which admittedly can be easily fixed, without sacrificing, the variety level design.
I think Jova's idea of having... Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, I'm going, Shuri. I'll continue after you go.
I think your idea of having this particular plan be, towards the beginning would have gone down much better because, yeah.
Yeah. See, having it at the start, that would have shown just how bad the relationship has gotten to the point where, they are legit hurting their daughter. It's just having it at this point kind of makes a lot of the game feel pointless. Like, we haven't accomplished anything if they're doing what's arguably the worst plan so far. Okay, don't get me wrong. To make Rose cry was kind of their plan all along, but doing it this way, ripping up one of her favorite toys, is just heinous.
Yeah.
Also, Joseph, I'm sorry, it's not 2009 anymore. People don't understand that reference.
He still loves it though, and he wants to make it the right reference too.
Alright, for the sake of the audience, around the early years of YouTube, one very popular video was about this guy gawking over a literal double rainbow. When he actually appeared. Whoa! Sorry.
Speaking of which, has anyone else seen the very first video on YouTube?
No.
I'm surprised, Shira, because everyone and their mother know about it. It's a little creator going to a zoo and making a dick joke about an elephant proboscidea.
And yet, it's one of the most popular videos ever.
And then,
hey, it's a piece of history at this point.
And then YouTube was born. Well, to be fair, it's still at the very least more memorable than the first movie ever made, Train Arrives at a Station, which is literally just a 10-second clip of a train arriving at a station.
Did people pay money to see that movie, I wonder?
Yes, Jova. And
well, actually,
they were completely freaked out by it because they had no concept of, separating something like that into actual reality. So they believed the train was actually going to hit them. It's one of the very first things that gets taught in cinema school.
Yeah, it is. Actually,
it's like 3D movies before 3D movies.
The Lumiere brothers were kind of pioneers with that front. Yes, Dwebs?
Yes, Pedro?
No, that's the thing, Dwebs. The Lumiere brothers, the ones who actually created that, they themselves kind of saw it as just a fad, and then they saw no future. According to George Méliès, when he bought them the camera, they saw no future in it.
Wait. They saw no future in movie making.
No. They came up with that technology of the camera. Basically, the Lumiere brothers created the first ever video camera. And to show it off, they actually went to a train station and shot that train arriving to demonstrate it. And when they showed it on that technological fair, I think, if I remember correctly, there was that episode that Theo just told us about. People were so blown away that they genuinely thought that the train was going to hit them because they'd never seen anything like this. It was mind-blowing. It was completely revolutionary. Remember, Jova, this is the first movie ever made. Can you imagine how mind-blowing it was for people to watch that?
Hold on.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, never mind.
Saying?
What are you into?
Oh, it's clay.
Have inside.
Isn't that a piece of him?
Apparently.
Jova, I don't know.
He just threw up an organ.
Oh my god, guys, that elephant is literally living and they want to tear it up.
But anyway, okay. There you go.
A cart.
There you go. We now have a minecart. There you go. A minecart level. It's a shame Deji isn't with us for this part because yes, we do indeed are gonna have a minecart level. But anyway, let me just finish my point.
To put in perspective, Jova, to what Pedro said, it's basically the equivalent of when the people in prehistoric times saw the first eclipse.
Yeah.
Roughly.
Yeah, you have to understand. Yeah, so obviously people were incredibly blown away, and guess who was in there? George Méliès, the creator of A Trip to the Moon, the guy who actually turned movies into a storytelling medium because he looked at it and he was blown away and he saw the potential of it. However, the Lumiere brothers, remember, they were not artists, they were not filmmakers, they were just technology men. So they just created a camera because it was a cool thing for them to create. They saw it as they saw train arriving at a station as just a way to demonstrate that their camera works. And they looked at movies, whatever, this is just a thing, it's kind of cool, but the novelty will eventually wear off and movies will just become a passing fad. Obviously, they were deadly wrong, but, well, you have to also understand that, like, they were not artists. George Méliès, on the other hand, was an artist who was a magician, so he looked at it and he saw it as, and I'm quoting him, a new form of magic. Because he was a magician.
I wonder what that must have been like. The first ever film production process. How would actors have felt working for the first time, like on a project like this?
If I remember correctly, I don't think A Trip to the Moon was his first movie. Let me check. Go ahead.
There's a documentary about that one.
Also, Jova, it's actually very easy. Remember, those were the
just watch Hugo.
Vaudeville theater, and the speakeasies. So it wasn't too much of a difference acting in front of an actual camera rather than in front of a stage.
Well, remember, Shiroi, if you want a reminder, you can just rewatch Martin Scorsese's Hugo, which is basically a romanticized tale about what happened with George Méliès. I don't remember if Trip to the Moon was his first movie, though. Let me double check real quick. But basically, Jova.
Wait. Hold on.
Go on.
Hugo. So, are you saying that the train scene in Hugo is based off of
yes,
train stopping at a station? You know, except in that case, the train really did kind of, well, crash.
Well, it didn't crash. Well, no, that's not.
It did, yeah.
Well,
oh, that's how you do it.
Hold on.
I was just wondering.
The train.
No, I was just wondering which order you were supposed to put.
Yeah. You're supposed to put these dolls in specific places, but me and Vanessa are still figuring out exactly who to put. There you go. See the couple.
And there you go. Kids literally sparkles electricity.
Yeah, there you go. See, sparks fly. See, they have genuine chemistry. So much chemistry that they were.
Is Sir Top and Hat.
Also, my wireless controller battery level is low. Which means we must finish the part in a few seconds, guys. So,
but
first, minecarts.
I mean,
yeah, basically, Jova, that it boils down to this: like the actors, most of the actors in George Méliès's movies were actually friends and family of his. So, and according to them, they had a lot of fun because they were incredibly just as enthralled and enthusiastic with this entire new technology as George was. The story did have take a sad turn, but it did have a happy ending, fortunately. So, again, if you wanna see it, watch Hugo. It's a fantastic movie that tells you that story.
But yeah, like I said, there's that scene in Hugo where the train crashes out of the station. Although, to be fair, that was based off of a real train crash where it literally did fall out of that 2-story station onto the ground.
I forgot. I'll have to
also,
check.
May, he got you this far. Jeez.
It's well, that's the interesting thing, Shiroka. This is why I keep saying that the second half of the story is much better. Believe it or not, Shiro, there's actually going to be a point where they're going to call out May for her not giving Cody credit for anything. That's why the first half is so frustrating, because the second half they genuinely start improving and actually calling out the bull crap and actually figuring out their issues. It's just a shame that we take so long to get to it. That's the big problem. The pacing of this thing is this.
I do wonder if it's one of those cases where people would try and argue, oh, but it's more realistic that it takes them longer to get well and better. And, well...
realistic writing doesn't equal good writing. We've gone for this.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, everybody. In the next part, we'll continue. We'll see you for the next part, actually. So,
yeah.
See ya.
Yeah.